Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So, we are here to recap live episode 9 of season 13, When Calls the Heart. And I see some new names here already. Welcome. Excited to talk about the episode. It was a unique episode. I see everyone saying hi. I am not, I usually have like it scripted and where I'm going to go and what I'm going to say, and then you communicate with me. But last week I didn't do it that way. And I don't want to do it that way with this because there were really only 3 actual stories in my mind. Tell me if I'm wrong. Okay. If you don't agree with me, tell me this. I feel like there was one big main story, and it really took up a lot of the episode, especially the way it weaved. Sometimes it would go from one scene and you would expect another scene with other people, but it was still the same. And that was the LJ story and his scavenger hunt, getting to know who his father was. And that took up, I feel like, 75% of the story. And then there were 2 other minor storylines, not minor that they're not important to us, but screen time and how much advancement they made. And that was the Lucas and Edie. And I loved how it incorporated Ned and Flo. And then there was the storyline with the children and the rebuilding of the school. I liked how that also weaved in quite a few people. But again, the main focus was the uh, scavenger hunt. Now, before we get started on the scavenger hunt, I want to say this, okay? And I know there's things that irk people, but I want to talk about things we love. But I have to say this that stands out to me. Sorry, I'm moving all over the place. First, let me tell you, I just walked in the door like 20 minutes ago. I had a flat tire, but all is well in the world now. I'm okay and I'm back. So let's talk about this. Nathan is trying to figure out, or not figure out, he's trying, first of all, trying to find Christopher, right? Or at least gather up evidence that they need for this trial. And he talks about how it's weighing on his mind. Is there nothing happening, Mounty wise, that he can spend the entire day and have Bill and Oliver, all of them, go searching for a missing medal? And also, Oliver has everything done that he's able to organize all the files. And Nathan has time to, one, in the previous episode, take the time to try to act in a movie. And then 2, this week, go on this scavenger hunt. There's no work for him to do. I don't know. That sticks out in my brain. I might be uni picky. I might be an uni picky. Tell me if I'm being picky here. I want to know. And I know I'm shouting. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shout. I'm sorry. Nikki, I want to go with you because only it's going with what I was saying. How many Mounties does it take to screw in a light bulb or find a missing metal? I know. And I understand. I understand the feelings behind it. I get there and we're going to get to it. But I was like, what? Thank you, Roxanne. I thought the same. No, you're not picky. Okay. He's so impeccable that he's alone. Come on. If somebody loved it, I want you to say you loved it and that you thought I was wrong and tell me why. Don't hide in the shadows and don't let, if people pick on you in the comments, it's okay. Just roll it off your shoulders. They do crazy things to me too. The search for the medal with all 3 Mounties. I know, Curry. I mean, I was like, all of you? And I know that it's important to LJ and they love LJ. Like Jack that's his, it's not his godson. What is it? Is it his godson? Is he the godfather? I always forget now. I forget what the connection is with that. I think so. I know that the Guardians ship goes to Rosemary and Lee, but is it Jack and someone else? The sister? I forget. Anyway, don't drive me insane with that. I'm sorry, my brain is frazzled. But it's just that I don't know. There's nothing else going on. Roxanne, are you saying that Nathan doesn't prioritize his duties like solving real crime cases? Well, maybe Nathan wants to, but the writers didn't write it that way. Yes, I agree, Roxanne. They should try a little harder with that case. I know. Jack and Julie. Thank you. I thought it was the sister. I was like in my head. You're right, godparents. Very good. Yes, Bill is the godfather and Julie is the godmother. So this is what I mean. Like I understand that, and Jack was so important to Bill, and I get that. But we say Jack and Julie, but that's his real name. It's Bill. We know. I'm sorry. We know what we're saying here. And I get that, but like what the Mounties don't do Mountie stuff. I am not heartless, but with 3 episodes left and so many storylines, LJ is what they spend the entire episode on. We're going to talk about that. At first, I thought they were looking for the Transformer. Yeah, I agree. It's unbelievable. They are trying to showcase Nathan above all other stories. That's okay. Nathan and Bill love LJ. Thank you, Brian. I knew someone would come up. You're right. And I just said that. I know they love him. I get that. I said that. Nathan and Bill love LJ, and how much time of each day was being shown on screen. It sounds petty to me. Okay. All right. I knew we'd find somebody who would love it. Okay. Good. I put your feelings up there. I got it. I thought the week Dow. I know that it's a typo. So sometimes I could figure out typos, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. So Joan, could you go back and rewrite what you were thinking? And again, so we got Brian. He's not afraid to speak up, and you're right. And I was saying that he does love him. But still, I feel like a lot of time is spent. They don't ever write Nathan really doing Mountie stuff. What happened? Jack would have a Mountie thing every episode, and they got so far away from it. And it's so much more about relationships than him getting to be a Mountie. That's what I've always said for many seasons, even when, there wasn't even a decision made as to who was going where and with what and whom. I mean, I love it when they finally did put some Mountie stuff on it. Do you remember when Kevin, he talked about this too. It was one of his favorite things he had to do, but he's riding on the horse and he takes the shotgun and he spins it around. And I mean, I love that. That was great. So anyway, I just want to see everybody doing their job, not just him, everybody. Were they trying to say another goodbye to Jack in his memory before moving on with Nathan? No, I don't think so, Linda. I didn't take that. First of all, let's get into that. Now, I was just talking, the one thing I had to get off my mind where he had all this time to spend on this. So let's go back to the episode. I love that they were bringing up the memory and they're bringing up the real, like, I think there is a line in there where Nathan's like, yeah, he's finally old enough to realize that, he doesn't have a father and he doesn't really have memories of his father. I like that they were doing that. That to me, I wanted that to happen before, but I guess his age is more appropriate now. I'm good with that storyline. I love how they were doing like a memory lane idea, and I love the character of Jack. But I had remembered where I had thought they would do something more like that when Lucas was involved too, and they didn't. So I'm glad that they're doing it now. It makes sense. But how they went about doing it, I thought that it took up too much screen time and they could have done it differently. That's all. But I kind of was in my head saying, okay, I remember what the connection is with Bill. And then they showed it. And then I remember what the connection was with Faith. And then they showed it. And then, of course, I was like, they can't leave out Rosemary because that's a whole beautiful storyline right there. And I loved all the people they picked and Henry, all of it. I thought it was great. But 2 things. One, and maybe it's the teacher in me. Can people learn how to talk to children? Oh, okay, honey. Oh, and that high pitched thing. This is not how you talk to children, especially his age. That kind of annoyed me because it made it not feel realistic to me. It took me out of it. So that's one of my complaints. And I know there are people that are mad. Why was Allie there? And I love the idea that the mother, grandmother was there. Jack's mom, and they called her, like they said the word family. I'm okay with that. I like that they say that. I like that, she considers Nathan family. She considers Allie family. I'm loving it. And I know there are people that hate it and are all cuckoo over it, but sometimes you're not being fair sometimes about it. You're letting your own wants and wishes, like kind of pettiness, as Brian kind of said. I'm good with all of it. I love the idea of the episode. I just wish they had done it a little differently, and I'm not even sure how to, so that it didn't take up so much screen time like it was one rolling into the other. It's a fantastic tribute, though. I thought that it was great in that sense. All right. And that's my piece. Now let's hear what all these others are saying. And those of you, there are a lot of people here that complain and don't like it because they are very much Lucas fans. But I know that there are people here that are very much Nathan fans, and nobody says anything because they tell me afterwards. And they send me messages that way. But if you're here live, you were grown-ups. Don't be afraid to say what you want to say. It's okay. All right. Donna. Can't wait to see how everyone feels about episode 9. So while I'm going through all of this, I would love for you to tell me how you'd rate it. How'd you rate the overall episode? And right now, my focus is on the LJ right now, but you can jump in and talk about the other storylines too. From a 1 to 5, what would you rate it? Now, I did the other day just the Lucas stuff. And at first, I thought it was 3.5. Then after I looked at it, my Lucas Bouchard fireside chats, because they have so many people who follow that are very much Lucas fans. I always like to dedicate something to him on Sunday nights. I kind of bumped it over to a 4. I was like, you know what? I think it might be a 4. I'm interested in the whole episode. All right. Dorothy. My grandma's name. I thought it would be Monday morning before the treasure hunt was finally over. Okay, so I'm guessing that's a little sarcasm there, and it was too long for you. People are saying hi to each other, which I love. I love that you all say hi. Okay, someone's agreeing with Carrie here. Nikki is. Not sure why Nathan and Allie were part of this trip down memory lane. I keep wondering when they are going to tell LJ about why his dad was on the training mission at all. Let's talk about that because they've addressed it, Nikki. So let's go to this. I would think it was weird that they were in on it because LJ loves Allie and loves Nathan. He thinks of them as his family. They've had him say, I wish you could eat dinner with me all the time and take me wherever. They are a family. They lived together for months, while he was ill and getting better. So it's an important thing to him. Who did he go to when he lost the medal? He went to Nathan, and Nathan loves him like a dad, and which is a simile. And I'm okay. I think that's nice that they were a unit there to support him and go through the whole story. But it also was something that Nathan and Allie didn't know. They didn't know all of the backstory. They weren't there for all of that backstory. They came afterwards. So it kind of was like a bit of a history lesson for them too, but they were there to support LJ. So if it wasn't that way, I would have thought that was weird. I understand that I just said, does he have time to do that? Nathan, I would think that they could have weaved it differently. That's all. That was my thing about that. Now, they've addressed multiple times. So I'm going to say this. This is how I compare this. I'm being objective here on this one. Not because Hallmark says I have to, because when people say, oh, you were saying that because you're afraid Hallmark's not going to get mad at me. I'm going to be objective on this. You know how the fish story and Lucas being shady comes up, and they always talk about the fish story? That's what happens when people, and then Lucas fans get upset. Nathan fans, and I hate that we have this divide, but we do. They built it. They being the producers of When Calls the Heart built this, and it's still a sore point here. This is the equate to that. So every time they bring up stuff with Nathan, they always say this. What about it's he's the reason or indirect reason why Jack died? And it's not true. That is not true. I understand that he didn't get to go on the training mission because he got in trouble and all that other stuff because he disobeyed something from that one particular I forgot his name and you're going to remind me, but there's some like bad blood between them anyway. And then it was an accident. And they even talked about that because even Nathan brings it up that he feels bad. And they're like, no, no, no. They cleared that up, their feelings about it. So, yeah. That's like saying, someone got a flat tire and you went to help them. And if you didn't get that flat tire and they didn't come, they wouldn't have been in the car crash and died. That's how I look at that one. I'm just saying fish for the Lucas and training mission for the Nathan. Okay. Judy, I'm so annoyed how LJ and Lucas don't even acknowledge each other. When Lucas was a father figure to LJ since he was a baby, but the little guy runs to Bill's arms. Well, Bill's been there since he's been a baby too. Like Bill was there when, remember, they all had to babysit and change the diaper story and all of that. Bill's always been there. So it's fine that he runs to Bill. But let's think about this, Judy. They're not gonna acknowledge between what went the relationship between Lucas and LJ because they can't, because fans can't handle it. So they don't have time for it. There is no time. There is the two of them being friendly does not advance the current storylines unless they create a backstory or another news story. So I get that. Time is limited. I get that. I get why they do it. I loved Henry and the LJ scene. Curry, Martin Cummins is the man. Okay. That man is so talented. And I feel like he forgets that he's Martin. And when he's there, he's Henry. And he's amazing. Okay. He's just amazing. And I love his whole story arc, everything about him, that scene when he is in the jail and he gets down on his knees. Even as I talk about it, it makes me want to cry. And Henry is still not perfect. He still makes mistakes, but I love how he has a quiet way about him. And he doesn't talk to children inappropriately. And when I say inappropriate is not the right word. He talks to children correctly, where we not with the sing song. Oh, hello. He talks to him not like he's an adult because he's not, but in a regular tone and has a lot to say. And it's serious. And he took him seriously. It was beautiful. They always write beautiful storylines for him. He's so underutilized. We need to see more of him. I'm hoping that we're coming to some good stuff for him in the next season. I feel like the writers are making When Calls the Heart like Little House on the Prairie, all about Elizabeth, Nathan, LJ, and Allie, and no one else. What do you think? Okay, Anita, it is all about them. It is Elizabeth's story. And let's be fair. If Elizabeth was with Lucas and when she was with him, large parts of the storyline were them. And everyone else has a smaller storyline. But because the writers struggle to write these long, overreaching arcs of stories, and then it sags in the middle, and we're going to talk about that more, that's where it gets lost. Before, it was more episodic. It was like, in these 2 episodes, we're going to tackle this, and the next 2 episodes, we'll tackle this. We got to see all of the other characters more, and the cast is larger now. Of course, we're not going to see, Lucas is not going to be up in the forefront as much as they are. It is their story. That is who she chose. Just like if it was still Jack, it would be Jack and Elizabeth. And if he had never died, and their son. And that's how it rolls. And whatever Elizabeth does with her students and her good friends, and whatever Nathan does with his Mounty work, and that's just how it goes. I'm not upset by that. Thank you, Roxanne. Okay. Let's see. Just going by all the other stuff. Yes, I agree, Roxanne. They should try a little harder with that case. Okay, so there is a podcast that used to be Deck the Hallmarks, but it's Bramble and Jam. Is that how they say it? I always say it wrong, and I apologize. I've got to learn because it's an odd. Not that it's not a good name. I just in my head it's odd, so I have to always correct myself. But it's Dan and Jackie Collier's on it, and Dan Bram, right? They love, like, or hate or loathe when calls the heart or anything. That's their stick. And they talk about stuff. And they recapped in episode 8. I haven't seen 9. I don't always watch it, but I was watching it because I wanted to get their take on stuff. And they're very knowledgeable about the movie industry, right? And they were talking about what it takes to make one of those like silent movies and how, where'd you get the budget? And just in the middle of your day, you're going to do it, and how unrealistic it was coming off of the Jam episode. And they said, the mystery is solved. We already know who caused the fire. Like, it's like they went and they gave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like really strong episodes. And then they sagged in the middle with 7, 8, and 9, where they filled it up with these odd, like, storylines that just didn't really move the rest of the like longer storylines. And could they have done it differently? And now we've got that last fourth, and we hope they amp it up. And they say it better than I am. And I feel like, yeah, I feel like we got to move the show, we got to move along. Not heartless. At first, I thought they were looking for the Transformer. Nathan and Bill love LJ. Yes, that was Brian. Okay. They could have had the children help look for the medal. They could have. But who knows? You know what? Sometimes children can only be on for a certain amount of time, but they had their own storyline, and I liked it. I liked the storyline. Let's go on to that, of them creating the school and how they put it together, and they got a say in it, and then they had people vote for it and paired them up and talked about compromise and friendship. I liked it a lot. I thought they did a good job, and how it also incorporated some of the other characters in the story, which I thought was great. It also brings up something. I always, you know what, if Scrapper Kitty, listen, Scrapper Kitty, if all you said was, hey, I have to put it up because I know I say this every time, but she got the greatest little name. But anyway, yesterday someone was saying, a couple people were upset, and stay with me and I'm going to see the new comments. They were upset because when the children present and they're all standing outside and they come out of the school, Lucas goes over to Opal and Rupert, and he asks if it would be okay if he could share with the team who's going to be doing the building their drawing. And they were so excited, and because he's choosing theirs, he shakes their hands, and then he turns around and he walks and he says goodbye to everybody, and he walks away. And Elizabeth's there, and she's like, goodbye, Governor Bouchard, that kind of thing. Well, people said why they got a cold handshake. They didn't handshake. I thought, am I crazy? So I miss stuff, even though I've seen things multiple times. I've missed a lot lately because my brain is everywhere. I'm not as detailed as I was because I have less time. I have to get back to that. So I went and I put it on and I watched it over and over again. And he never puts his hand out. The only reason why he's shaking anybody's hands is because he's congratulating the 2 that were chosen. So that wasn't in there. Just saying, because people have brought it up and I didn't have an opinion of it because I didn't see it. Here we go, Linda. Were they trying to say another goodbye to Jack in his memory before moving on with Nathan? I don't think so. And I think when we saw the previews for next episode, this is something we thought Lucas would have done too. It would have been great if they wrote it in there. To have he wants to get the blessing of Jack, and you see him go to the gravesite. I think this is going to be good. It's going to be really good. And I don't think there's like moving on so much as, and maybe I'm taking your moving on, Linda, the wrong way. Jack's always going to be present. It's more like a sharing. a sharing of raising him, especially because, look how much they have his mom involved, right? LJ had a lot of screen time this episode. Good job for a little guy. He did. He did. A lot of lines. And Erin always compliments him. She works the most with him, and she says he's always ready. I like the behind the scenes stuff they show too. I would love if Lucas found the medal. Oh, geez. Now we're being petty. Bill is the godfather. Yes. And Rosemary and Leah are his guardians. Yes. Yes. And Julie. Nathan is a faux Mounty just for show. He doesn't really do Mounty work. He's a good Mounty, right? He does do his stuff, Kevin plays the Mounty part really well. He's great on the horse and the physical stuff. And I love how it sprinkles in his sense of humor. I think he has great comedic timing, especially his facial expressions. However, that's the writers. The writers have to stop writing a faux Mounty. I've been saying this for a while. One season, all he did was keep leaving. And he even made a funny comment, like, don't they know how to lock their jail up? And he had to keep going to help out who was escaping or whatever. And then the next town over. They give him one big story to solve each season instead of constantly doing different Mounty things. He does not wear the surge hardly. That's because, Martha, they're not really putting him in that Mounty position. It's more about him being a family man. We're not seeing him really that much going off to work. The first 6 episodes were amazing, but the last seemed filler. Yes, Carrie, and that is what Dan and I think it's Dan says. Dan says that what happened here, it's like you solved and did everything, you're done. And now you've got this sag. And it's like the 7, 8, and 9. Now let's hope. But here's the thing. We know a trial's coming up. Well, you still are trying to collect evidence. And then all of a sudden a trial's coming. And I forget, is it episode 10 or is it 11? I'm like, is there a time jump? We're not seeing it because next episode looks like Nathan's running around trying to get the ring size for Elizabeth. I think that's odd, but it'll be funny, I guess. Judy thinks Nathan is a bore. He doesn't have to be. They write him as a bore. He does not have to be. He wasn't always. I thought the walk down memory lane should have been with just Elizabeth and Bill. Nathan and Allie are not, and I know they're I guess because they're not family, but they are a family, and it's okay. And I thought it was so clever. And Allie says it, I didn't really know him and she didn't have anything to contribute, but they're close. So it was smart. Whoever came up with this idea was smart. Have her go through all of his old files and notes. And she's a writer and a storyteller, and she writes a book, like a story of one of his, cases, which we all know. And then Grandmama brings out her artistic ability, like, her son Jack, and she does the illustrations, which is a nod back to Elizabeth's first book. I thought that was clever. And I love how she said, oh, we have another writer in the family. So I think people that have extended families, and especially back then, this happened a lot, and they have blended families, are probably loving this. And they are a family. They are. And in my family, we have dads that are dads to daughters and sons that they did not help make. And those kids don't even realize it because they've been there since they were tiny. And I forget sometimes. My mom has one sister, and I forget that one time somebody got sick and we were going through everybody's blood type and tree and all that. And we're like, oh, wait a minute. They're not even blood because they were only so many years apart when they were raised as if they were. So I think that's beautiful. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. That's just my opinion. Here we go. Nathan needs to find his inner Dudley Do-Right again. Okay. I love the scene with LJ and Henry. Way too much screen time. First, it's the jam, then Rosemary's Folly, not the LJ's feelings. It's a short season. We want more. Yes. Again, love the storyline, but not the way they kind of like unfolded it, right? Honey Bear, I'm sick of hearing that. I remember someone else saying that. Hi, a bit late. I'm glad you're here. Can she stop calling LJ Honey Bear? Oh, I know. I know you don't like that, but I know. I get it. You're upset by that. But reason why I don't make a big deal out of it is because I think I told you this before, and this is just me, but I'm putting it up because I know these are your feelings. In our family, we have names like that all the time. Nobody has the regular name. They always say all of this, all of these things. My one niece, she's 19, and I say, whenever we hang up, I say, I love you a bushel and a peck. And she has to say, what the heck? And she's 19, and she said to me, what the heck? And I was like, what? And she goes, I'm 19. And I was like, you're right, you are, but that's something we always say. And when I'm old and gray or dead, you're going to wish you could say those words to me. All right. It was right to have Nathan and Allie involved. They are poised to become a family. Brian, oh, I was like, who's writing this? Yes, I'm with you, Brian. You are correct. I agree with you. You are my best friend tonight because we agree on this point. And again, it is a sore point, and people don't want to see them as a family. And I know why. And I understand that they are hurt and they don't want to see it. But we have to like be objective, and they should be. I would have thought it was weird if they were not involved. I would have thought it was kind of mean for a significant part of your family doing something so important to him about, finding out about his father, and you are left out of something that's so meaningful. I don't know. That means that says to you, you're really not my family. I don't know. I don't like that. Just call him Jack, for crying out loud. Okay. I think that would be cute. I like that. Don't like the honey bear, Elizabeth calls LJ, as he's growing up and seems so over the top for his current age. Okay. And maybe they'll address it. Maybe if we say it a lot, maybe he'll be like, Mom. Okay. I went with LJ. How about honey bear? Can you end that? Poor mama. Yes, Elizabeth being a teacher, you'd think she'd be aware of her voice and talking with LJ. But listen, Arlene, again, that is them acting. And a lot of people do that when they're not, but Elizabeth shouldn't, right? Because she is the teacher. I get you. If I was LJ, I would throw something at Elizabeth the next time she called him Honey Bear. I don't like that nickname. It is just silly and makes no sense. Well, if my child threw something at me, they'd run. They'd know not to throw anything to me, Nikki. But again, I say to my fifth grade students, all right, let's get in line. Apples of my eyes, pizza pies, chicken liver stew, I love you. I say that all the time and they repeat it. I don't know. I think it's just something cute and fun, but it's annoying to you. Okay. All right. Avis. I thought it was very moving, such as with Henry and Lee, but a lot was just too honey bear sweet. Okay. All right. People said 2.5, 4, 3. Love the scene with Henry and LJ, a 4, 3.5, overall a 3. Okay. I thought the walk down memory lane should have been with Elizabeth and Bill. Nathan and Allie had no memories to share. Yes, but I've said my part as to why I would have been okay. 5 for me. Okay, Brian, you loved it. Loved the touching LJ story, and even the B stories were well done. I thought all 3 were well done. It's just the timing for me with the Jack story. I mean, I was crying when I was watching it because I was going down memory lane with them. It was very touching to me. It was just the timing. I felt like the way they rolled it out, they could have broken it up a little differently. But you know what? That's my opinion. Hey, Judy. The honey bear was so sappy to me. She didn't have a pet name for him when he was a baby. She didn't? Okay. I like that Allie went to Oliver for a story about Jack. That was a neat scene. I liked it too. I already told you that. I already shared my Jackaroo. No, Jackaroo is cute. No, I love Jackaroo. Hargraves. Thank you, Nikki. Yes, Hargraves. He kind of was like jerky to him too. They had some like, I don't know how, like something about Nathan rubbed him the wrong way. So I don't know how fair he always was. He was a little bit over the top. I thought it was too much of Jack's memory. Oh, really? No. I liked it. I was hoping when Allie was looking through stories that she would run across disciplinary actions against Nathan, causing Jack to take his place on that mission. Yes, Avis, because that's exactly like you were hoping that the fish story and the shadiness of Lucas, like not you, others were. It's the same. Those things go together. The acting was weak and lame. Martha, you didn't like how everybody was acting in this episode, and it was lame. I love Mounty comment. I love Martin Cummins. Yes, he's amazing. He was the best part of the scavenger hunt. He was. I thought it was strange how Allie hugged Jack's mom with LJ in the scene, given their limited relationship currently or the past regarding Jack. Just my opinion, I found it strange. I didn't. They lived together. For a while in the same house. I think maybe we didn't get to see enough of that, but I saw it right away, especially in that first episode. She's been teaching her how to play poker and all kinds of stuff. No, I'm okay. They're a family unit. Sometimes I feel the writers aren't writing the characters for the time period way too much and loses a bit of authenticity for me. You know what, Arlene? Yes, I get that. Yes. It's difficult to remember what a bad person Henry was sometimes. I love his character, and that's what Curry's saying. And you know what, Linda? Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice that we forget in real life if we could forget? Right back at you. A thing in the 20s. Yes, Arlene was right back at you. I had to go back and make sure Jinx was, because they kept using Jinx for the two of them. And I know that the word what a jinx is, it came out in the early 1900s. So it's definitely there. But the idea of jinx being when you both said the same thing, when that came about, because I thought that was much later on. But now we're being picky uni instead of giving them creative license, because the street light didn't happen until a few years later, but they're pretending that it happened already and they have one there. Let's see. But Lucas and Elizabeth knew how to act. When? I don't know what you mean by that. Fill me in. I will give it a 3. I'm not heartless, but it irritates me with her acting like a child with her baby talk. I just can't understand her acting. It's like she had a nervous breakdown in season 10. Oh, Donna. Hi, Donna. There is something different about her character, right? And Erin is a really good actress. So I'm not quite sure what direction that's going in, but I do see a difference in her. They should just call it the Elizabeth Thornton Show. I'm thinking the writers are making a mistake by not giving the Lucas fans more screen time. LJ got an entire show dedicated to him. It is the Elizabeth Thornton Show. That's what the whole thing is about. It is about Elizabeth. She's always going to be the forefront. I remember when we would have some of the writers on, and they would say she is the core. Elizabeth, he goes, we always think she is the core, and how stories get spun around her. Now, I know as years have gone, it's much more of an ensemble cast. It is a little bit less about her and more about all the people that are involved around her. And we forget that. And the people who love Lucas got more of a, and when you think about it, what exactly was Lucas's storyline whenever he was with Elizabeth? I was trying to think about that. What, like, we would see him doing things, but there was never a big problem. There was a little bit of a problem with once they were a couple, was a little bit of a problem with him in his oil well, right, with the oil, and there was a little bit of that, and then him helping Henry, but him specifically with his job, something happening with the hotel, like kind of got a little bit away from that too. And it was more about, it's like a love story every time you turn around. I wish it wasn't everybody's love story. I wish it wasn't always just Elizabeth and Nathan's love story, or just because it wasn't just Elizabeth and Jack's love story. Jack also had Mounty stuff. And that's why I wish they would do it in episodes and not try to do one big thing, because it sags in the middle and they struggle. That's all. I mean, I was so excited. I was in love with those first 6 episodes. Yeah. Yes, Henry Martin Cummings is an absolutely amazing actor. So believable. And he portrays such great empathy, emotions, and a realistic feelings in all scenes. We need more. Yep. It is Bramble Jam. Okay. Thank you. I loved all the Lucas scenes. His call with Edie was so good. Yes, I did like their conversation. I talked more about this yesterday. I liked how what they were saying sometimes could, be like innuendo for when they were talking about the past, but then he comes right out and lays it out there. And he's like, I had a dream, I had a dream. No, I was reading a book about a time machine. And if I could go back to the past, and she's like, the past is the past. And she put it all out there, and he kind of like, I need time. And she's like, but how much time? And people were upset. They wrote it that way, like you're pressuring him. But really, I mean, she has a right to figure out how much time. I'm not sure. So she's like, okay, well, then I see other opportunities somewhere else for me. I'm trying here. And she kept trying and trying, and then kind of like got rebuffed. And she's like, you know what? Let me go do something else. Good for her. And now she, of course, doesn't shut her feelings off. I know Florence is not supposed to listen. I get it. But she's rooting for them. And I like how Ned is still Flo's voice of reason, and she ignores it. And she was so into it with her blankie and her tea and listening like it was one of her books. Nathan and Bill need to have Opal and Rosemary direct the investigation. Yes, and I think Rosemary does get back into it. I think they review When Calls the Heart on Thursdays. They do. I feel like they are writing skills instead of stories. Oh, skits. Yes. I hope the memory lane walk about Jack brought some closure for Elizabeth and her obsession with the Mounty life she missed. Maybe Lucas will find the medal. My heart broke for Lucas when Edie told him not to live in the past. I know. After he opened his heart to her, I wonder what her motivation is. We all know she loves him. She doesn't want to be hurt. She opened her heart up to him. She's like, he kind of said to her, she's like, there's nothing between us, meaning, Fernando. And like, how much did she have to say to prove that? She said it repeatedly, and she asked him, let's go to dinner. She was in his space. She was touchy feely. She was in. Let's go to dinner after they had already played poker together, and we're having dinners, and let's play cards. And he just was a no. Right? Yep. They're cute. Yes. I agree. They're really cute. And I remember when we had on Jada, she goes, oh, later on, Opal makes a connection with someone. And that's probably what she was talking about. I think it was silly that kids designed the school. Oh gosh, no to the no, N-O. I don't. As a teacher, we do things like that. We've done stuff when a new school was going to be built. We asked the kids, what would be your dream? Think big. What would be your dream? What would you like? And some really cool things came out of it, and they incorporated it into one of our new schools. So I was all with it. I didn't think it was silly, because also as a teacher with a lot of the children, depending upon what their ages are, because she's in one schoolhouse, especially the older, there's a lot with perimeter and up to scale, and just the area of something, all the geometry that's involved with it, and then the history that can be put into it, especially what Rupert and Opal did. No. I love that. Sorry, Lucy. Looking forward to better adult scenes for Elizabeth and Nathan. P.S. Edie and Lucas will give us good, realistic, and adult conversation. They are fun. They do write good conversation for them. Great. Both of them are great with words. Like whoever's writing their dialogue and how they're, if one team is writing it with another, they're doing a good job with it. You're right. They didn't handshake. Yes. No, they didn't handshake. Yep. Ro, I'm happy. My name gives you so much joy. It does. Baker, why doesn't Lucas know what the assemblymen are doing? Oh, yeah, let's talk about that. He got mad. Do you remember because they're not real. Remember I said the way they're hacking up Canadian government. First of all, there aren't any governors, so they're just going with whatever. So he apparently has this team. It kind of reminds me of our superintendent. Sometimes doesn't know what the board is doing, right? The board of ed doesn't always tell. And anyway, apparently, he's got a group that can do whatever they want. And he was mad because they kind of got access to the money and they decided to take the money to use potholes and fix potholes and whatever at the Capitol. And he's like, that's not what that money's for. And that's when he says cronyism. He loves it. He gets mad about it. I think they could do a better job with how that whole setup is. Like I would have to sit down and say, we're designing our own government here. Let's do a little bit of a better job of it. And I don't know if they did. Talk about artistic like license, I really love this episode with all the storylines, and it was a 5 for me. Okay. Both Lucas and Nathan have known little Jack since he was a baby. I have a feeling Edie may not return for season 13. Oh, no. No. No, no. No, 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 no. She will. She will. She's going to. I love Rupert, Opal, Toby, and Cooper Gwen. They're so much fun. Yes. Where is Elizabeth's family? What about Nathan talking to William Thatcher? I'm sitting here thinking about where are all those people? She never mentions them, but when she was with Lucas, she did. Remember, she spent some summertime there, and he said, "I called your family." I have to talk about this. Think about how they wrote, because they're different writers, how they wrote Lucas's proposal. He didn't need any help. I said this to Kathy. I gotta be careful because of her answer. I wish I could just say her answer, but it's not PG. So I'm gonna try it. Okay. So Lucas did it all on his own, called the father up, like said what his intentions were, picked out the perfect ring, didn't need to know her ring size because he knew all that stuff. And it was beautiful and he had it all planned. And we did it with the rocks because with the collecting of the stones, they pulled it out and he incorporated him in it and they did the whole spin. It was a beautiful, beautiful, romantic engagement. Now we see how they're handling it with Nathan. And I wish they wouldn't always write him like this, where he like tells Ned, I got to get a ring. And Ned's like, oh, and he's hugging him. And then he's like, oh, you got to get the ring size. He's like, the ring size. And now they're making it this comedy of trying to get the ring size. And it's silly. Okay. They make him look silly and not posh or polished. And the two are just so worlds apart. And as I'm saying this to Kathy, I don't know how to say this. I'm going to use the letter V, okay? When she says, well, that's because Lucas wasn't and saying that Nathan is, like, he's, inexperienced and goofy. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's why, Kathy and her and what she has to say. Maybe when Nikki, I'm going to read this without pre-reading it, so I hope you're not saying something wise. Maybe when Nathan goes to Jack's grave, a bird will fly over him and poo on him. That would be a great answer from Jack. I should have known. Will Charlotte be told what really happened? Oh my God, at Fort Clay, she and Tom should be told it all. They already do know it all. They do. They do. Nathan is more of an Andy Griffith, no diehard. Okay. Jack seems to have a lot more Mounty issues. However, like Roxanne said, that's on the writers for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Where's Christopher? I don't know, Martha. And who's out looking for him? Nobody. What was the fish scene about? More filler. What was the fish scene about? When they what was the fish scene about? I missed the fish. What? What? Hopefully Christopher is okay. Bill and Nathan letting Georgie do all the work. I know. Maybe he should ask Lucas. Lucas didn't have a panic about the ring. He just knew. Oh, that would rock the world of the Hearties. If Nathan went and said, "Hey, I got to figure out what Elizabeth's ring size is. Could you please tell me?" Oh my God. I think Nathan is a much better Mountie than he is Elizabeth's partner in life. He was never boring before. Okay. I have no problem with Nathan and Allie were in the scavenger hunt. Makes sense for them to be there. I agree, Lucy. You heard what I said. Next week is ridiculous. We didn't even watch it yet, and I didn't get the screeners so I don't know. How hard is it to find a ring size? I hate that there'll be so many minutes wasted on that. It's the preview. It looks like Elizabeth is still wearing the engagement ring. No, Elizabeth is wearing the ring that she's always worn all the time on her finger since the beginning. It's supposed to be a gift from an aunt or something. She's always had that on. All your followers are obsessed with Nathan. They're obsessed with hating him, Brian. Not all of my followers, not all. Come on now, Brian, not all, but you're right. Sometimes I know we got to be objective. I'm glad you're speaking out, Brian. I love it. It's okay. It's all good. Makes for a good conversation. And I just want to take away the all. We could put in there many, many. To me, the honey bear is a way to keep him young. Wonder if he is really ready for all the changes to come. That's true, because she was like a little heartbroken that she couldn't call him little Jack anymore, right? And went with LJ. Okay. And I like when his grandma comes up, Charlotte, and she says, LJ, I think it fits. Because then they've had the conversation, right? I'm fine with Enemy moving forward. I just want the stories to flow a bit better. Me too. Me too. Allie was the one who brought up how she used memories to remember her own mom. Yep. And stories from Nathan. I think Nathan and Allie need to be involved in those type of scenes. Me too. I agree. And that's what gave her the idea. And I loved it. And I loved how Charlotte was the person who put some little drawings in it. And those drawings look very much like Jack's drawings. And he did that as a gift for Elizabeth. And it all wrapped together. I thought whoever came up with that was brilliant. Loved whoever came up with that storyline. Next week is 1 hour for the ring. It's not. We don't even get an hour on any episode. We've been at this for an hour. We're going to wrap this up. Okay, Lillian. I'm wondering if some scenes were refilmed. Did anyone else notice how LJ's hair is long in one scene and shorter in others? You know what? I think, did he have something he had to do? You're right. They may have done them out of order and he had his hair cut for something. That's a good thing. I'm fine with them moving on also. Just wondering if it will be all smooth going. I was crying too, I know. I agree all the stories were good, but not executed. Thank you, Curry. I'm with you. You were crying too? I know. So was I. E's acting was a little too sing-song dramatic, silent movie hangover. And I love that word hangover. Would like to know what Flo was dreaming about when she fell asleep? Romance. She was dreaming about romance. When she was done, you know what I would wish when she wakes up? I wish she would say to Ned, we need to have a little romance in our lives so I don't have to be listening in on other people. Maybe you could go have some lunch with Lucas and get some ideas. But I know they're keeping him alive. Like they mention every now and again, Gustav, and he's really not there. That's how they kind of keep it alive. Allie always wanted family, so Charlotte is like a fill-in grandmother, and Allie does have. She is, but she has a grandma. But like I said, they're a family. They're showing them how they're a unit, and by Charlotte because they don't have Jack there, Charlotte is the next best thing. And if the mom of the deceased son is in and calling you family and all a part of it, then it's easier to think he would be too. Yeah, yes, you are right. Absolutely. And they still have not kissed. I know. And a lot of people make it about real life. Oh, it's because they said they didn't want to kiss and all this stuff. I don't think so. They were kissing it up before. I think it's their way of trying to make us have a slow burn. We haven't seen them kissing. Maybe that engagement proposal is going to be one hot kiss, or supposed to be at least. I'm happy with Lucas's time compared to last season. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I thought it was a good episode, but it confused me as to why they went backwards with the remembering Jack and they aren't advancing the N and E story. I think this is an advancement. I think this is what got Nathan thinking, and Nathan wasn't ready yet. If you notice, he wants to, but he has a lot going on in his mind and probably in his heart. And he's going to do the scene where he says, I need someone else's blessing. He already knows that he's going to have Charlotte's, but you see him go to the grave. I think if the writers do it right, this is going to be a really good scene. Yeah. I love the flow scenes. Glad she is rooting for Lucas and Edie. Yes, Roxanne, if you're partnered with the heroine, you seem to lose your identity on her love. Yes, it's true. The original title is called Teacher and a Mountie. You are correct. What did Edie say during the phone call to Lucas when she hung up? I couldn't get it. She talked about the past. Like, it's in the past. Let's, we're not going to even talk about it. Opal would be a great pollster campaign manager, a governor assistant. She could be put on Edwin, and yes, get rid of that Edwin. I liked when Lucas stood up to him. He was going to make that time. He was not going to leave, Edie, and he was running to get to the phone. And that's when he said, I thought I might have been a little too late, or I missed you. And they had that whole little innuendo conversation, but it's never too late kind of thing. He was trying to build up to, hey, I'm sorry, but it didn't happen. And that's what Flo was waiting for. But when he stands up and Edwin's like, it'd be the kiss of death. And he's like, the kiss of death would be me not governing, actually governing for the people who put me in here. Chris said in the Edify after show that the Lucas and Edie phone scenes were filmed separately with a stand-in reader. Chris says that it was harder because you could not see Edie's reactions. And I'm not surprised. Thank you for sharing that, Nikki. And I'm not surprised because this is what makes him such a good actor. When another actor feeds off of, it's not them just thinking, I got to say these words in these scenes and it's robotic. He is always watching and paying attention. He locks in with his eyes, his facial expressions, and not being able to see her. He had to kind of imagine it. So it was him against himself instead of him actually locked into a scene with a partner. And he's very much loves that. And he does great work with it. But it was still really good. It was really good. Not to be unkind, but Elizabeth looked really frumpy in this episode. I know things changed, but it was really noticeable to me last night. And she looks a little more frumpier because they're trying because she would be showing a little bit more now. And that's probably what it is, than earlier on. And it's just the style of clothing was, if you think about that time, it was frumpy or it was a little hotsy-totsy, which is a word from back then. And so, they had like that drop waistline, that boat kind of sailory look with the big giant collar in the back, which I loved when I was in my 20s. That came back for a little bit. So anyway, I mean, you looked pregnant without being pregnant with that drop waistline, So I think they're trying to do that, but she can't be flapperish. We got a little bit of her flapperish before. And even a little flapper dress had a drop waistline, but they had it cut up to where. So I get it. It's they made Rosemary wear a big giant coat when she was pregnant that one time. Yes, Donna. Elizabeth is a wonderful actress. That is why I don't understand her now. Sorry, but sometimes it's embarrassing me for her. I want her back. Oh, I know. It's the way the writing is going. Maybe there'll be a shift. I love Opal and Rupert. They are cute. Yes, they are. I love Florence and Ned. They're great together. Edie said, here's what she said: don't think so much about the past. I think she was referring to his and to hers. Yes, because that's a good point, Mary. Everything they say has double meaning, and I like it. You like the kids designing the school? I have to ask, do you have episode 10 teasers? If I do, I didn't see them yet. And if I do and I get them early, I like to do a little teaser. So I'll do something silly and funny and I'll put it out there. I do it in different ways. Someone said to me, oh, everybody's getting these screeners now, which she was really talking to me, but she wasn't. And she's like, oh, I don't like it. I want to make a judgment for myself. And I said, you can, because I can't even tell you stuff. I'm telling you things like, I'm very vague about stuff. And I got a whole bunch of screeners. I feel like they're for the mysteries that are coming up, because I'm doing like a junket for the Hannah Swenson mystery series, and with Allie and Victor and Barbara. And then and also the Nellie Knows is coming out, the second one with Pascal and Kevin. So tomorrow I have a junket for that. It's not live. And I think I got the screeners for that. I'm not sure. They seem overwhelmed. Before, they were giving them to us systematically, and then I got one after the fact. So my answer, that's a long answer for I don't know. And if I do, I'll do a teaser for you. As a teacher, I also really like the kids designing the school. There are so many skills that can be involved. Yes. Love that the kids suggested the design for the school keeps them invested in their future and makes them feel heard and seen. Do you think that Edie was upset with Lucas because she thinks that he only called her for advice? No. I don't. I think that no, I don't. I don't at all. I think she put herself out there. She was all in, and she really likes him. Look, girls, we really like him, right? If we were a character in that time frame, he's a delicious man, okay? In many ways, delicious. He's intelligent and he's creative, and he's like a romantic kind of guy, and a kind soul, and zeroes in on things, but then he could be a little bugger if he wants to be. And she was like so in. He liked her, she liked him. They were flirting, and someone who takes her for her. She's not your average girly girl. She's a lawyer. And nobody is lawyers of girls in that world back then. And she worked with cattlemen, and she could have a bite. And she loved to go on adventures and ride horses and sort of tomboyish and play like sort of like Charlotte, and play poker and have a good drink. And she's like, God, I found this handsome man and he likes me. And then he didn't. Or so she's got her feelings hurt. The actor who played Elizabeth's father retired, I believe. Yes, Brian. And the actress, Linda Boyd, she's very much busy. I don't know what the issue is about bringing her back. I don't know. I know there's certain budgets. That's like a production thing. I have no idea. Lucas is the perfect man. He's thoughtful. Nathan is sort of a clown. So that's when taste gets involved, right? And if there are people here that are Nathan fans, they will be mad at that. Lucas is not the perfect man, because I'm going to get crazy here. No one is perfect, okay? He is not the perfect man. He sometimes he keeps too much inside, right? And we've seen him change and grow, though. And he seems like he's more polished than what Nathan is. But Nathan is a good man, and he would not do anything to harm someone. he was immature at first. He would always take things out on other people and say goofy stuff, but they've made him mature. And he's a different kind of man. He's just very different. And I don't think of him so much as a clown. He has a really great silliness about him, but it's the way they write it. And maybe they should write it less silly. How about that? I think. Hiding the money. Oh, here we go. Him hiding money. I know. The fish story. Yep. I am not looking forward to next week, except I saw Lucas and Edie are still talking from afar. Cleaning the fish. Yes, wait a minute. I don't know why they put some things in. I'm not sure. And he didn't like it and he didn't want to touch it, right? And she laughed at that. Charlotte. I don't know. Trying to do family things, I guess. Charlotte showing, yes, you're right. Does Nathan have an ex-girlfriend? If so, we should meet her. They've never one time ever suggested. Charlotte wanted to teach LJ about scaling fish. He said he would rather do homework. I know. And people are wondering why that was in there. I'm not sure. I'm not obsessed. I just don't say much, but I love listening. Good. Yes. I was talking about the fish story. There was money under the fish. Yes, that's what I was saying. That's the story about, oh, that's what they always say. Lucas is shady. What about the fish and the money? And that's what people always say. And then the people that don't like Nathan always bring up how it was his fault that Jack died. I don't hate Nathan, but I can't help but make observations sometimes. I do Lillian with Jack's hair. We don't hate Nathan. We just feel he is very wrong for Elizabeth. Oh, no. There are people who hate the character. They say terrible things constantly. If the writers are making the decisions on how each storyline is acted by the actors, where is Nathan's mother? As for the writing for Nathan, Alfonso Marino, who knew how to write for Nathan. Uh-oh, Carolyn, you got, where is he? You got cut off there. Yes, I do too. I hope that's how he wins if he wants to win, Governor. If you think that E and N are boring now, just wait until they're married. Oh, I don't know. We could have some. Is Edwin undercutting Lucas? Maybe. Yes, get rid of Edwin. I'm a Lucas fan. I love Kevin, but not the character of Nathan. I want to tell him to man up, Maureen. Oh, you know what, Patty? Kevin McGarry is a cute guy. He really is. I remember I did something with they were in a movie together, and it was actually one of the first time Kayla had a lead for Hallmark, and it was called Feeling Butterflies. And Marita, who was the director, we had like a whole big podcast thing together, but we had to meet beforehand and talk and whatnot. And one of the things that I loved was how he was quiet and he kind of took a step back because it was Kayla's time to shine. And he said that to us and he wanted her to shine. And he was so like sweet and in love with her and so respectful and but funny. And the things he had to say, I was like, oh, I fell a little bit in love with him. That was way back then. But sometimes people get the character and the actor mixed up, you know? And I agree. The Nathan character needs some help. They need to write him a little differently. And but Kevin is, you know, that's why I always say we don't talk about the human. The human is different than the character. Chris McDowell is an exceptional actor. He is. It's hard oh yes, to have a telephone conversation without the other person. And he did a good job. He's good. I think it's about the hair. It's unattractive, longer and more feminine. Elizabeth suddenly is frumpy and matronly. And good advice from Edie. When Elizabeth, gosh, we're rolling into over an hour. When Elizabeth and Jack were together, the whole town was involved. But now Elizabeth and Nathan aren't involved. It's all about them. I love your response on Edie and Lucas. Thank you. It is wise. We're going to wrap this up. It is wise to collaborate as a team, but I would like Lucas to make some bold, progressive moves on his own as governor and be successful as a leader and gain respect as a leader. Yes, Mary. And I'm glad that we got to see 2 wins for him in this last episode. And I mentioned that yesterday. We got to see, and it was a subtle thing, but he was like, oh, good to see that's on schedule. And that's the water tower. So they're prepared if there was ever a fire again. And that was something that he pushed forward. And also that the payment and the building of the school went forward, which I like. I gotcha. We know. Catherine. Nathan is not a clown. He's just a Barney Fife type character. A little bit. He's more suave than Barney. He and Edie should be able to excel on their own while making one another better. True. If the fish story is the fish story, Martha, you're bad. Martha, you're a bad girl. You and Nikki are bad. I should always not censor, but read before I put it up here. Who is Daisy? Daisy is the person who is coming up with campaign slogans for Lucas. She is working with Edwin, and she was all excited. But you have to agree, Lucas is a gorgeous man. Did you see Nathan's suit today? I think he shops at the secondhand store. Well, first of all, Nathan, well, you're talking about 2 different things. How someone dresses does not necessarily mean they're physically gorgeous or not. So Lucy, beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. And Kevin McGarry is a handsome man. And so is Chris. Chris is a handsome man. The way they dress is because Lucas is a totally different man than Nathan. Nathan's not rich. Nathan doesn't have money to splurge. Remember when Nathan was in some dire straits and had to protect his niece? He went to Lucas for money, right? And then, gave it back to him. It was like a loan, and he didn't wind up having to use it because it was a trap, right? For capturing her real father. But of course they're going to dress differently. And his suit is always a different kind of suit. His is always that brown tweedy. We've seen it a couple different times because he's a Mounty. If he had some great suits, we'd be like, where'd that money come from? That's weird. She is shining now on Landman. She sure is. Good for her. Is Daisy going to be in and out during the campaign? I don't know. It's the first time we ever see her. I like a clean-cut guy. No more fish. All right. Oh, just love Kevin, just not Nathan. I hear you. And you love the Butterfly movie. Bold and progressive campaign slogan. We came to the end. Thank you for staying with me. There's almost 200 of you here. 178 commenting and participating. All right. Thank you. Thank you for joining in. I don't know. This was kind of lively. I love it. And those people that are here, I like when you're here and then you write me and say, I didn't want to say anything. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. Thank you. I was just going to say this. I didn't want to say anything, because I love Nathan and I wanted to say blah, 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 blah. Just say it here. Come on, say it here. Let's stop all the Nathan hate. Nathan does have some good suits. He does. I always see him in the one brown suit. I wasn't joking about that. And that makes sense to me. He has that tanny tweedy kind of thing because he's a Mountie. He doesn't have a ton of money, Good. I'm glad you said that. Have a great rest of the week, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you all being here. It makes my night fun, especially after I had a flat tire in the cold. It's so cold. So my brother-in-law's here helping me change the tire. He's such a good man. All right, everyone. Good night. Good night.